What is your suggestion to get out of a negative equity position?
It's tough. So what you're going to have to do is there's sites that you can go out there and then you can put your car in the VIN, the make, the model, everything, and it will spit you out from dealerships, from Carvana, from CarMax, who is going to give you the highest amount. And what it's probably going to be is going to be a lot less than if you already know that you're in a negative equities position, then it's going to be a lot less than what you owe on your car. So what you're going to have to do is figure out how to come up with that difference. The other option that's preferred, and what I would prefer you do anyway, is post it online and try to sell it as an individual. See what you owe on the car and see if it's remotely possible for you to get exactly what you owe on the car. You're probably not in that position, but if you can clean it up, make it look really good, take some really good pictures of it, put it online, then you might be able to pull $500, $1,000 more than what your car is actually worth, because somebody will pay that extra amount for a really, really, really nice car. But unfortunately, the statistics are the average person that's underwater on the car right now is underwater by $6,000. You're not going to be able to shine that thing up $6,000 worth. So what you're going to have to do is post it for the highest amount you possibly think that you can sell it for. And you're going to have to work hard and find some money, whether you're working nights, weekends, door dashing, whatever these other gig jobs you can get a second job just for the time being, that you can actually raise the cash to pay that difference. So you have two problems here, because you're going to have to sell the car for top amount, and you're going to have to work your butt off to get the difference. So hopefully you have that money sitting around that you can pay the rest of your loan off whenever you do sell it. But most people I know are not in the situation where they're able to do that. So my advice to that person that's $6,000 underwater, and the value of your car is going to continue to go down. And the principal that you're paying on your loan every month is not going to catch up with the depreciation, because the depreciation of these vehicles is going down faster and faster every single day. Wholesale prices are going down, and that's what these values are tracking, is wholesale prices. So that's my worry for you. So you're going to have to knock out this debt as quick as humanly possible, and that's going to mean extra jobs. That's going to mean not eating out. That's going to mean Dave Ramsey says beans and rice. That's all you're going to eat if you want to actually take out this negative equity. Find stuff in your house that you can sell. Another thing Dave says is that you want to sell everything until your kids feel like they're next. If you can do all that, then you can get out of this. But you're in a race that is against you right now, and it's very tough. And I hope and pray that you're able to get out of it, and get out of it quickly. But just know that wholesale prices are going down, and they're going down in a big clip. So the best way for you to get the most value out of your car is sell it to an individual, and then you're just going to have to figure out how to come up with a difference.
I want to add to that too. There can be some other things for particular situations, and just depending on what's going on. First of all, with the tax time increase, depending on the car, we don't know anything about what car you're talking about, how many miles it's on it, what the value is. Maybe around tax time could be, your best, but those values are going to drop even more after tax time if it's one of those lower end 15,000 and under cars, especially. So time is definitely of the essence. And so there might be some other options to look into. Some of the YouTube channels that I watch related to this that I find really interesting, and I hear a lot about that, is certainly Dave Ramsey, Caleb Hammer, Money Guys. There's other ones out there, and where people are actually going through. Caleb Hammer does audits where he'll look at people who are literally in this situation and look at what else they have going on and seeing if there's some other options out there, because it is a tough situation to be in, and there are so many people in it.
Yeah, and go watch a lot of their channels and get their advice, because there's like my wife was saying, the actual car situation that you're in, you're going to be able to find the advice from these different people that are on YouTube, whether it's Dave Ramsey, Caleb Hammer, Graham Stephan's another one you can watch, and he reacts to these kind of the debt. You need to do your homework and work hard, and that's you can dig yourself out of it, but it's going to be, you got to use the right kind of shovel. And please don't go after you get done with this one. Don't start the whole thing over again. Buy a car that you can afford. You can go out there and you can buy a $2,000, $2,500 car that will last you. It might not be the greatest car. It's not going to look good, but it can last you for a year until you're able to save money to get the next car, upgrade it, and then sell that $2,000, $2,500. Because I can tell you, if you take care of that $2,000, $2,500 car, even if you put 30,000 miles on it this year, you know how much it's going to be worth next year? It's going to be worth $2,000, $2,500, somewhere around there. Because those kinds of cars, the cheap cars, they don't go down in value. If it's a running car, you can always get $2,000 out of it.
This is a tough one. I need a third row SUV that'll last 7 years for $18,000.
Yeah, let me pull out my crystal ball here. Tahoes, Yukons, I like those. Suburbans, I like those. You just got to be careful with those motors and make sure that it's not leaking any oil from the rear main seal. They're bad about that. They're bad about burning a little bit of oil. I wouldn't buy any Ford product. I don't like Expeditions, so I wouldn't go that way. No matter what you're going to buy, it's going to be a used vehicle if you're looking at that range. Get it checked out by your mechanic. Before you even look for vehicles, find you a good local small mechanic that's going to give you the time of day, that's going to treat you right and be honest with you. And you're going to have to pay them to look at this. Even if they don't charge anything, I still want you to pay them something, $90, $100, whatever for their time. Let them check it out for 30 minutes to an hour, get it up on the lift, have them drive it like they were driving it to buy it themselves. So I want you to find that mechanic first that they'll do the service for you. And then you can start maybe you can find a good Honda Pilot that's got not crazy mileage on it. But after that, Tahoe, Suburban, and be careful with the motors and the transmissions on them. Make sure you get checked out. So that's my suggestion. I know a lot of people like the Kias and the Hyundais, the third rows, like the Tellurides. I'm not sold on them yet. I need to see some longevity of them being used vehicles. So I can't formulate an opinion on them yet, but I know that the Tahoes will last. I know the Suburbans will last. I know that anything Honda and Toyota is going to last, and I can put my name behind those. But it's going to be more difficult for you to find a Honda, a Toyota, that you're wanting to last 7 years in your price range. So you can buy something that's 10 years old and pay $10,000 for it. It can last 7 years. It's just hard for me to say, yeah, just go buy something for $10,000, $15,000 and just say it's going to last 7 years. I can just say that you're the best bet that you're going to have for a car lasting that amount of time is going to be Honda or Toyota. So you might be watching this and not even know this, but this is a brand new channel. So if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, it would really, really help me out.
I am looking to buy a Chevy Express cargo van. Do you think the market on them will be changing in the near future? I am planning to pay cash.
There was a massive increase in these cargo vans right at the beginning of the pandemic because they weren't making any of them, and all these fleet services that had to have them, all these delivery companies that had to have them, they weren't able to get orders from the manufacturers. So it just massively just crushed the inventory. Any of these service vehicles, whether it was like a 2-wheel drive little fleet truck or all that stuff, just went to the moon. And the prices were just crazy. So they're going to continue to go down from here because manufacturers are able to actually fill fleets. Fleet sales are crazy strong right now. If you're looking at any of this data, any of these numbers, retail sales are actually not doing great, but fleet sales are still high. And that's because these companies are still catching up on loading their fleets back up. So as these fleets continue to get better, as manufacturers continue to get these fleet vehicles to these dealers, and then the dealers can get them to these company customers, the prices will continue to come down. They're still going to be strong right now because fleet numbers are still very, very, very strong.
Do you think if interest rates go down that the sales will increase, or do you think that prices are still too high for consumers to fuel the car market?
People don't care how much the cars are. All they care about is if they can afford the monthly payment. If interest rates come down, there'll be more affordability for a car no matter what the price is. So no, interest rates going down will make car prices go up a little bit, but there's so much inventory still getting pumped into the system on the new car side that I don't think that they can lower interest rates fast enough. That wouldn't, my opinion on the Fed does not need to be said right here. If interest rates go down, will prices go up? The answer is depends on how fast the interest rates will go down from here. If they knock them down like a quarter of a percent, if they knock them down 0.5%, it's still going to be bad in the car market. There's still not going to be enough people that can actually buy vehicles. But if they knock them down in the next 2 years, 3-4%, if we're not back to the same level of inventory that were in 2019, prices are going to stay high. There's not anything you can do about it because people don't buy off what the actual price of the vehicle is. People buy if they can get into the monthly payments and if they feel like they can afford the monthly payments. That is how people shop now. I wish that wasn't the case. And I'm hoping that if you're watching a channel like this and trying to get advice on the car market and when to buy, when to sell, when to get your car repaired and how to get your car repaired, I hope that you're not in that genre person, but the average person, doesn't matter what the car costs. And we've seen this over the last 3 years because prices were absolutely crazy, right? Everyone knew prices were crazy and they would still buy them because they could just pay the monthly payments, whatever.
Hey guys, will you continue to see prices falling now through the first few months of the year? Where do you think the market is headed and what does rock bottom look like?
Yeah, we're going to continue to see the higher end of the market is going to continue to fall because there's just not demand for, and I see in the comments all the time, people say, yes, there's demand there, but the prices are just too high. No, I mean, that's not how demand works. The prices are too high, causing the demand for the current market to be low, and there has to be kind of a tipping point where, okay, demand has to come up because prices are coming down. And then you find that middle ground. And we're nowhere close to that right now, especially with these interest rates. And where do I think the market is headed? So it's just going to be a continuous downtrend from here on. And what does the bottom look like? I think to actually find a bottom and to find a bottom in the next year and a half, you're going to have some massive economic event, whether it's this repo crisis that we're starting to see right now, if that actually hits mainstream economy where banks are actually taking more hits than they thought that they were going to take, something like that could make prices actually plummet. And if you get that and you get a bad economic situation, you're gonna have a lot of dealers going out of business. And something like that, if you take buyers from these auctions out of the system, then that could give you a whoosh down. And that's what a bottom would look like if we had some kind of lending event. It's not going to be as bad as 2008, but something similar to 2008 within the car industry. We're seeing cracks in the system, so I'm not ruling it out. I'm not predicting that it's going to be that bad in the car market, but there's a lot of bad that's in the car market right now from these loans, all the negative equity that's in the system. You could see a possibility of some kind of crash, some kind of big whoosh down because the lending practices were so bad over the last 2 years. That's what you would look for if you were looking for some kind of bottom. Some big lending institution is going to have to get hammered and possibly go under because of bad loans that they actually wrote.